Okay. So for the whoa, kind of waiting here. For this game, this was the round two of the Cleveland Open. My round one game, I haven't even looked at any of the games like deep analysis until today, but my round one game was missing 3 moves to be exact, and I couldn't put the pieces together. I remember checking that game out right after it happened, and it was kind of back and forth, but drawn. Pretty well played game from both sides, but I ended up losing because I didn't know a pawn on the edge of the board. It was like this pawn, and my opponent had a light square bishop, and I didn't know that it was a draw. If it's an outside pawn and the bishop's on the wrong color. Yeah, so I could have just sacked the bishop and been a fine draw, but yeah, I didn't know that, so I ended up losing. I kind of blundered in the end game, which wasn't even a blunder if I knew that little bit of information. But oh well, it was a well played game from both sides. And my first round game, he won the tournament, so it was the under 1800 section. I'm 1645. I don't think I was technically allowed to join anything above for now. But yeah, so my opponent was around the same rating, and I started with e4, usual. Sometimes I play d4, but e4 is most likely my main choice. So I first time ever in a tournament I've encountered the French defense, and I went into my usual variation, the advanced variation. You advance the pawn, sort of fixing these squares, and it typical French advanced theory that Paul's an attack. Pretty normal stuff, honestly, at this level to see this kind of position if you play the French defense. And usually I expect to move queen to b6 here, in which I would actually mirror, and we kind of go into a staring contest, but none of that actually happened because my opponent went here. And I'll be honest, I don't really know what to do against this, so I took my first think of the game, and I'll take my first sip of Gatorade. And I actually didn't play the most correct move, but I thought this move was fine. Bishop here. The main point is when the knight gallops here. If it ever, so this pawn is extra supported. And if he takes, now I get an extra pawn in the center, and all my pawns would be on dark squares, which would be good for my light square bishop. So that was kind of my idea, but that didn't really happen. I took back with the pawn to make sure my center is nice and connected. If I would have taken back with the bishop, a knight here would have put some extreme pressure on the pawn, especially when you add in a move like this and f3. So my center would have evaporated quickly. So yeah, I took back with the pawn. Normal developing moves. And then when he plays this a6 move, I am very well aware that he wants to start pushing p on the queen side. And yeah, so I just developed my rook to c1. It is an open file, so I thought that was pretty logical. He does push p. I developed my bishop, and here he played the first move that I was kind of like, ooh, and he went queen e5. And my first instinct was to just castle. But then I was like, oh, but what if he pushes the pawn, knight here, takes. I didn't like it. I think I missed, so if I was going to go into this, right, and takes, I guess I just missed that rook here, and the queen's kind of stuck. It can't really go anywhere. So, and now look at all your pieces pointed towards the king side. So, I don't know, I guess I just panicked, and I played a pretty bad move. It was a mistake. So, to defend against this, and even just the idea of taking, I just pushed a3. And, yeah, I don't really think this was a good move. And I think one of the biggest reasons is this square right here is now very weak. And yeah, so he played a weird move here actually. I didn't think he fully capitalized off this. He played knight to c8, which it is clear his intention to bring his knight to c4. And here I was kind of deciding between two moves. But first I was thinking about just castling. Castle, and I'm like, alright, get my king to safety, the knight can move now. And the other idea was knight to g5, and I was actually planning on knight g5 here and here. This was my plan, with takes being met by either queen here or queen to f3. And actually, Engine, it doesn't say this was the right idea, but it says this is fine for white with about an even game, and I think this would definitely put the ball back into my court. I think I would have very much liked this, and I think the reason this is alright is because this knight went here. It was here, so if I came in with a check like this, the knight would just block. And yeah. So, and I think like I just missed the whole idea of like my pieces are pointed at the king side right now. This knight right now is stupid on c8, but instead I just got too scared really, and I castled, which is a fine move, but I don't think it ends up being what I want, because now he plays this move, bishop d7, and now I've wasted the idea really. I guess I could still go for it, takes and takes, but now it feels like I'm running out of juice. And then in the end of that, here takes, this pawn would actually be hanging. And yeah, it's probably fine because my bishop has some discoveries, but still not something I wanted to go into. So that's why I dropped my bishop back to hit this. He brings his knight in, and at this point I did just get scared. I mean, I have my pieces pointed towards the king's side, but he has all his pointed towards my queen side. Yeah, so I brought the knight back to take if it ever lands on c4, and when it did, I threw in this move, queen here first, to put some pressure here. But my opponent just simply pushed the pawn, said, what is your queen doing there? I took the knight, took back, he opened up his b file, and more importantly, he has full access to this really weak square. And yeah, at this point, I was already annoyed, and I realized that I missed my opportunity to attack, and I was just frustrated, honestly. I knew I just messed up and that this is not the position I wanted to be in. And I think even Engine says about even, but I'm not an Engine. Black's plans are very clear, and White's plans are not. This bishop is a little bit tied down to this pawn, so is this queen. The center is basically the only thing I have going for me. My pieces kind of suck. I mean, literally my rook's staring into a brick wall. My bishop is doing nothing. My queen's staring into stuff that can't really do anything. Yeah, so, not great. And I don't even remember what I played here, honestly. Yes, I dropped my queen back because I felt like it was doing nothing, and the computer hates this move, obviously. It says you brought it here, why bring it back? but I really didn't know what to do. I thought the protection of this pawn was becoming very immediate, and yeah, he played rook b1, attacking the pawn. I played knight 2. Again, it's just to protect the pawn, but the knight doesn't really belong on d1, and my rooks are unconnected. I have 4 pieces on the back rank, all doing minimal. He double attacks the pawn now, creating the battery. I guess to get a battery as well and bring some extra protection in case I ever want to move the bishop, I don't know. But, yeah, this isn't good. Here, I guess, here I was trying, I don't even know. I should have played bishop here, though. This bishop isn't doing anything on this diagonal. It's just getting in the way of the back rank. So if bishop here, I can actually play here. But yeah, I went here. He went there, trying to remove the defender of this pawn. So that way, like if I play stupid move, takes, and it seems like black is busting through. Especially since I guess I would only have this to trade off the rook, but he can just drop back. Yeah, so clearly this isn't great, and in that line, this c-pawn would also start to push. So I went, instead of playing there, I did go here to stop that, and you can't take this pawn right now because the knight. So he plays here, hitting my queen, and yeah, I'm not really sure what to say about this. I thought queen here. I didn't like this. If I'm being honest, I did not like this. I thought the bishop was gonna reroute to target this pawn. I don't know. It just felt like everything was crumbling. But yeah, instead of that, I actually probably played the worst move I could have played, which is rook takes. I think this was just a matter of tilt. But remember when I played that move a3? Yeah, let's just take a look here. Item 1 lands on b3, the square that was weakened when I played this move a3. And now item 2 lands there. Item 3 lands there. Item 4 lands there. And now my bishop's hit. Play knight c3. This pawn, and so now this rook is actually tied down to defending this knight. If you see king d7, if I was to play this move, there would be a boom. And now this pawn is being hit twice, and if you take the bishop, I take the knight. So that just wins a clean pawn, and pretty much the game for black. So I'm pretty much tied down. If the knight moves, the bishop's lost. If the rook moves anywhere other than here, the knight is lost. So by process of elimination, you move the bishop, put extra protection, but now here comes the rook. So at least now I have this double protected. But as you'll see, I have no moves. The knight can move, but if the knight moves, I think here it's technically okay because of this threat, but even then, he just goes here. Here takes, so yeah, I just played consolidation of my pawns. He played bishop here, and this is what gave me the idea to play here. Like, oh, what if he blundered a fork? What if he blundered a fork? You can't go here because it's still a fork. But yeah, the opponent's wasn't born yesterday. Bishop there, my knight's stranded. I just took, and then I realized that this was a big threat, rook to here, so I played it myself. And I thought maybe there were some chances to hold, but then I realized, yeah, rook just comes, take, take, king over, push, take, king up. But yeah, my boy is just winning all my pawns. I can't really move anywhere. The king can't go forward. The bishop can't really go. I mean, it can go here, but it's only a matter of time in this position that this pawn just marches its way down, or I give up my bishop and he just cleans up everything. But this is not winnable at my level or struggable. This is just a loss. So, I mean, so this was my fourth tournament, and other than one tournament where I played really bad and all the way through, I had some shit going on, but other than that tournament, this is probably the worst game I've ever played. I made some bad moves, but it just felt like this was the first game I've ever played where from start to finish I just didn't understand the position at all. I misplayed, I did all sorts of bad moves, and I even had the big blunder of rook takes knight right about here. Yeah, so had a little bit of everything of what still makes me a bad chess player in this game, but it was a lot to learn from. I'm an attacking player, so if I get an opportunity to show that, I might as well just fucking go for it. It is better than getting steamrolled in this game. So yeah, that is all I have for you guys. I will be back for the third game, and at this point I was 0-2 in the tournament and very hungry for a win, so I guess you'll see the Tournament 3 game and how that went. But yeah, that's enough.